Friends, if you want to watch the hilarious and emotional new movie Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, in English, then make sure to like this video. And if you're visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to Facts and Review. Friends, in today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new film Madea's Destination Wedding. We'll cover what this movie is all about, where you can watch it, and all the interesting behind-the-scenes facts related to the film. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything, from which OTT platform or satellite TV channel you can find this movie on, to in-depth details about its technical department, music composition, pre-production, filming locations, post-production work, budget, and box office collection. We'll also dive into the plot of the film, and I'll share a short review of the story to give you an idea of what to expect. Apart from that, we will talk about the film's storyline, its cast, each actor's performance, and which star played which character. So, I request all of you to watch this video till the end, because it's going to be packed with valuable info and fun facts. So let's get started with Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025. Plot and narrative analysis, in great detail, third-person perspective. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, continues Tyler Perry's beloved franchise with a comedic yet emotionally layered storyline set against the backdrop of a tropical wedding retreat. The film follows a fairly conventional three-act structure, but like many Madea films, it layers in unexpected turns, heartfelt character moments, and sharp social commentary delivered through humor. Act I, the setup, a family on the move. The story begins with Madea being dragged to a luxurious Caribbean island for her great-niece Tiffany's wedding. Tiffany, a successful career woman, is marrying her fiancé Ethan, a charming, soft-spoken man from a wealthy but uptight family. The destination setting introduces a vibrant and contrasting atmosphere, far from the usual Southern family setting Madea is used to. The first act introduces the core conflict, cultural clashes, family secrets, and generational tensions. Ethan's parents look down on Tiffany's loud, loving, and chaotic family, while Madea immediately picks up on bad vibes from some of the wedding guests, including the bride's ex-boyfriend, who is unexpectedly invited. Throughout this act, humor flows as Madea delivers her usual sharp one-liners and no-nonsense advice, often breaking up the tension with laughter. But beneath the comedy is a setup for deeper themes: identity, class differences, and unresolved family wounds. Act 2, rising tensions and emotional depth. The second act focuses on the days leading up to the wedding, where all the personalities and secrets begin to clash. Madea's role becomes more central as the family matriarch and truth-teller. She uncovers that Ethan's parents are pressuring him to call off the wedding because they believe Tiffany isn't good enough. Meanwhile, Tiffany begins to doubt the relationship herself, especially when her ex tries to convince her she's making a mistake. This is where the narrative dives into emotional territory. Tiffany wrestles with her self-worth and whether she's compromising too much for love. At the same time, Ethan confronts his loyalty to his controlling family. A major turning point comes when Madea gives a fiery monologue, calling out both sides and reminding everyone of what love, commitment, and respect truly mean. Flashbacks are used briefly, not as a non-linear device, but to give emotional depth, such as scenes from Tiffany's childhood, and a moment showing Ethan standing up to his parents in the past. Act 3, resolution and celebration. In the final act, just hours before the wedding, a major blow-up threatens to cancel everything. Tiffany decides to walk away, and Ethan is left devastated. But with the help of Madea and other family members, reconciliation happens, not in a big dramatic twist, but through honest conversations and heartfelt apologies. The movie ends with the wedding finally happening, a bit late, slightly chaotic, but full of genuine love. The climax isn't just the ceremony, but the emotional growth each character goes through. Ethan finally stands up to his parents. Tiffany realizes her worth. And Madea, once again, brings a family back from the edge. Themes and emotional impact. From a narrative standpoint, Madea's Destination Wedding sticks to a linear storyline, with a traditional build-up of tension, climax, and resolution. However, what sets it apart is the way it blends humor and heart, offering both laugh-out-loud moments and serious reflections on identity, self-respect, and family. The destination setting is symbolic, a place where people try to escape reality, but end up facing it. The film's title isn't just about a wedding, it's about a journey, emotional, generational, and deeply personal. Madea, the unshakable matriarch. Character arc. As always, Madea, Mabel Simmons, stands at the center of the chaos, bold, brutally honest, and unfiltered. While she doesn't undergo dramatic change herself, she remains the moral compass and emotional anchor of the story. Her character represents wisdom earned through life experience, and though she appears comedic on the surface, her dialogue often delivers the most profound truths. Development. In this film, Madea takes on a more reflective tone, showing glimpses of vulnerability as she opens up about her own past mistakes in relationships, helping Tiffany navigate hers. Her advice isn't just loud and funny. It's rooted in survival, resilience, and self-respect. Impact on story. She functions as the catalyst for character change in others. Her presence constantly challenges characters to confront their own shortcomings, hypocrisy, and fears. 2. Tiffany, the conflicted bride. Character arc. Tiffany, the bride-to-be, undergoes the most significant transformation. Introduced as confident and successful, her character slowly reveals emotional fragility, stemming from growing up in a complex family dynamic and facing judgment from Ethan's elite family. Development. Her arc follows the struggle of self-worth and identity. As the pressure from both families escalates, and doubts about Ethan's loyalty grow, she is forced to confront deep insecurities. A key scene where she stands alone on the beach, questioning whether she's enough, marks the emotional low point of her journey. Transformation. By the end of the film, Tiffany evolves from a woman trying to prove herself to one who reclaims her voice, stands up for her values, and embraces love on her own terms, not as validation, but as a choice. 3. Ethan, the torn groom. Character arc. Ethan, the groom, is portrayed as kind-hearted but deeply conflicted. Raised in a wealthy, judgmental environment, his arc centers around breaking free from parental control and embracing emotional authenticity. Development. Initially passive in the face of his parents' elitism, Ethan's failure to defend Tiffany sparks major tension. His character is tested repeatedly, especially in scenes where he must choose between familial loyalty and his future wife. Transformation. In a defining moment, Ethan confronts his parents, declares his independence, and reaffirms his love for Tiffany. His growth lies in developing emotional maturity and learning to lead his life instead of being led. 4. Cora and Mr. Brown. Comic relief with emotional insight. Character arcs. Though Cora and Mr. Brown primarily serve as the film's comic relief, their presence adds heart. Cora's role as the churchy voice of calm is counterbalanced by Brown's eccentric chaos, but both characters offer genuine concern and wisdom, especially when things spiral out of control. Development. While their arcs are not as deep, they still show supportive transformation, helping bridge the gap between generations and encouraging the younger characters to listen to their hearts. 5. Ethan's parents, the antagonists of tradition. Character arc. Ethan's parents, especially his mother, are the primary antagonists, not evil, but bound by classist expectations and cultural arrogance. They represent the external force trying to disrupt the union. Development. Though initially rigid, there is a minor shift in attitude by the end. After witnessing Ethan's assertiveness and Tiffany's grace, they begin to soften. Their partial transformation underscores one of the film's major themes: love breaking barriers of prejudice and pride. 6. The ex-boyfriend, temptation and doubt. Character role. Tiffany's ex-boyfriend enters the narrative as a disruptive force, challenging the couple's bond. His charm and manipulative nature expose Tiffany's lingering doubts and create narrative tension. Development. He does not undergo significant change, but serves as a mirror for Tiffany, showing her what she has left behind and what she truly wants. His character helps catalyze Tiffany's clarity and emotional growth. Relational dynamics and emotional themes. The film weaves complex relationship threads. Madea and Tiffany, a blend of mentorship, tough love, and generational understanding. Tiffany and Ethan, a relationship tested by external pressures but strengthened by internal growth. Family versus family. The contrast between warmth and cold propriety highlights themes of class, acceptance, and authenticity. These relationships evolve through conflict, humor, and resolution, with every character, major or minor, contributing to the emotional tapestry of the film. Conclusion: a rich, layered ensemble. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, thrives on character-driven storytelling. Though rooted in comedy, its emotional resonance stems from authentic arcs, relatable conflicts, and the idea that love, family, and honesty can overcome almost anything, if people are willing to grow. Madea, the matriarch as mirror and mentor. Small Blue Diamond's surface persona versus inner wisdom. Madea is known for her bold, sassy, and hilariously aggressive personality, but in Destination Wedding, she becomes much more than a comedic figure. Here, she represents the moral backbone of the story, often voicing the truth everyone else avoids. Through sharp wit, brutal honesty, and lived experience, she holds a mirror to the younger generation's flaws. Small Blue Diamond not just funny, emotionally grounded. In this film, Madea's dialogue shifts between comic relief and heartfelt truths, revealing a more grounded and emotionally aware side. One key moment occurs when she confides in Tiffany about her own youthful mistakes in love, a rare moment of vulnerability that humanizes her and allows the audience to see beyond her loud exterior. Small Blue Diamond narrative purpose. Madea acts as a truth-teller, guide, and unifier. She doesn't change much herself, because she is the emotional constant, but she facilitates growth in every other character by forcing them to confront uncomfortable realities. Without her, the emotional breakthroughs simply wouldn't happen. Tiffany, the emotional core of the story. Small Blue Diamond confident exterior, fragile interior. Tiffany enters the narrative as a poised, successful black woman, seemingly ready to marry the man of her dreams. However, Beneath this confident image is a woman who struggles with imposter syndrome, deep-rooted insecurities, and the pressure to prove herself, especially to a judgmental in-law family. Small Blue Diamond personal conflict. Her ex-boyfriend's sudden appearance, paired with Ethan's lack of defense against his snobby parents, pushes her into a crisis of identity. She begins to question her worth, wondering if love means compromising her self-respect or simply being accepted for who she is. Small Blue Diamond character transformation. Tiffany undergoes the most profound transformation in the film. From being emotionally dependent on others' approval, to becoming self-assured and empowered, choosing to marry Ethan on her own terms after confronting both his parents and her own doubts. This arc reinforces themes of self-acceptance, dignity, and the courage to be loved fully. Ethan, the struggle between loyalty and love. Small Blue Diamond, the passive partner. Ethan is sweet, respectful, and clearly loves Tiffany, but he starts off as passive and indecisive, especially when confronted by his parents' elitist disapproval of Tiffany's family. He's torn between family expectations and emotional truth, unable to fully defend his bride-to-be. Small Blue Diamond, his internal journey. He's not a bad person, but he lacks the emotional backbone to stand up for his love until he hits his breaking point. With Madea's pressure and Tiffany's threat to leave, Ethan evolves from a sheltered, obedient son into a man who can make his own choices. Small Blue Diamond transformation outcome. In a pivotal scene, Ethan finally confronts his parents during the rehearsal dinner. He declares his love, rejects their controlling nature, and prioritizes his own happiness. This moment marks his shift from passive participant to active protector of his future. Ethan's parents, classist antagonists with a human face. Small Blue Diamond, symbol of social barriers. Ethan's upper-class parents aren't villains in the traditional sense, but they are the embodiment of systemic bias, class privilege, and societal judgment. They view Tiffany's family as uncultured, failing to appreciate their warmth and authenticity. Small Blue Diamond, microaggressions and emotional distance. Through subtle microaggressions, condescension, and passive-aggressive behavior, they alienate Tiffany. Their disdain isn't overt, it's woven into every interaction, highlighting how discrimination can hide behind civility. Small Blue Diamond, their arc. While not fully redeemed, the parents show measured growth. After witnessing Ethan's assertiveness and Tiffany's grace, they begin to question their assumptions. They're softening signals that love can bridge generational and cultural divides, even if not all differences are resolved. The ex-boyfriend, a symbol of the past. Small Blue Diamond narrative function. Tiffany's ex is not just a romantic obstacle. He represents her past traumas, doubts, and the temptation to retreat. He whispers everything she wants to hear, feeding her fear that Ethan won't stand up for her. Small Blue Diamond, no real growth, but essential conflict. He doesn't change, but his role is crucial. His manipulation pushes Tiffany to see clearly. She doesn't need validation from someone who abandoned her before. This realization propels her emotional breakthrough. Cora and Mr. Brown, generational wisdom and comic relief. Small Blue Diamond, their role. Cora and Mr. Brown bring balance to the drama, with light-hearted banter, musical interludes, and comic misunderstandings. But beneath the jokes, they deliver moments of subtle insight, especially in scenes that discuss marriage, forgiveness, and family history. Small Blue Diamond, minor growth. While they don't undergo deep transformations, their presence helps anchor the emotional tone, allowing the story to oscillate between laughter and heartfelt depth. Interconnected arcs. How relationships drive growth. The strength of Madea's destination wedding lies in how each character's transformation is intertwined with someone else's arc. Tiffany can only grow because Ethan begins to stand up for her. Ethan only evolves once Tiffany and Madea challenge his complacency. Ethan's parents soften because they witness genuine love. Madea remains the catalyst, turning moments of confrontation into moments of clarity. Performing arts' emotional and thematic payoff. The film's character development reinforces key themes. The value of authenticity over appearances. The power of love to overcome division. The importance of self-worth in relationships. Family is not just who you're born into, it's who stands by you. The characters don't just entertain. They evolve, confront their flaws, and arrive at a more honest version of themselves. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, A Performances Analysis. Madea's Destination Wedding blends comedy, family drama, and emotional reflection, and it is the actors' performances that carry the film across these shifting tones. The film's emotional depth, comedic timing, and family dynamics are elevated by a well-balanced ensemble cast, with some standout performances that truly define its heart and resonance. Tyler Perry as Madea, the powerhouse performer. Small Blue Diamond performance overview. Tyler Perry once again dons the iconic wig, dress, and gravelly voice of Mabel Madea Simmons, and his performance remains the central pillar of the film. Perry doesn't just play Madea. He embodies her with the same fearless confidence, sharp-tongued wit, and maternal presence that fans have grown to love. Small Blue Diamond comic brilliance with emotional nuance. In this installment, Perry adds more emotional layers to Madea than usual. He skillfully balances slapstick humor with moments of quiet reflection. In one standout scene, Madea delivers a heartfelt monologue about past mistakes in love, a rare emotional moment that Perry handles with unexpected tenderness, grounding the film's heavier themes in authenticity. Small Blue Diamond impact on the film. Perry's performance anchors the film emotionally and narratively, serving as both comic relief and a truth-teller. His comedic instincts are razor-sharp, but it's the emotional gravitas he brings in quieter scenes that elevates this Madea outing above many of the previous entries. China and McClane as Tiffany, a career-defining role. Small Blue Diamond performance overview. China and McClane steps into the spotlight as Tiffany, the conflicted bride, and delivers one of her most mature, layered performances to date. Known for her earlier roles in teen dramas and musicals, McClane showcases emotional complexity, vulnerability, and growth in a role that could have easily fallen into cliché. Small Blue Diamond emotional range. McClane effectively portrays Tiffany's inner conflict, balancing strength and ambition with self-doubt and emotional fragility. Her performance in key scenes, such as the confrontation with Ethan and her emotional breakdown by the ocean, displays remarkable control over tone and expression. She shifts seamlessly from composure to raw emotion without ever overacting. Small Blue Diamond impact on the story. Her chemistry with Tyler Perry and her on-screen fiancé creates a believable and touching emotional arc. McClane's portrayal helps ground the film's themes of love, identity, and worth, and she serves as the emotional core of the film. Rome Flynn as Ethan, subtle, understated brilliance. Small Blue Diamond performance overview. Rome Flynn plays Ethan, the groom-to-be, with a mix of charm, vulnerability, and internal conflict. His performance is less flashy, but purposefully restrained, which suits his character's narrative arc, a man caught between love and family expectations. Small Blue Diamond internal conflict made visible. Flynn does a commendable job portraying emotional hesitation, especially in scenes where Ethan fails to defend Tiffany. His quiet stays, unsure posture, and shifting body language give the viewer clear insight into his internal turmoil. When Ethan finally confronts his parents, Flynn delivers a controlled but powerful performance, a turning point both for the character and the audience's perception of him. Small Blue Diamond romantic chemistry. His chemistry with McClane feels genuine, making their ups and downs feel earned rather than forced. Flynn's performance adds subtle emotional weight that complements the more dramatic characters around him. David Alan Grier and Vanessa Bell Calloway as Ethan's parents, elegant intensity. Small Blue Diamond performance overview. These veteran actors portray Ethan's elitist parents with cold elegance and emotional restraint. Their delivery is deliberately measured, portraying characters whose every word is loaded with unspoken judgment. Small Blue Diamond understated villainy. They don't play villains in the traditional sense, but their performances highlight classism, passive aggression, and familial control through micro-expressions, tone, and uncomfortable silences. Grier in particular manages to communicate discomfort and disapproval with just a glance. Small Blue Diamond narrative value. Their performances are crucial in building tension and providing the external pressure that fuels the central conflict. While their arc is minimal, their presence gives the story its primary antagonistic force, allowing the younger cast members to shine emotionally. Tamala Mann as Cora and David Mann as Mr. Brown, the heart and laughter. Small Blue Diamond performance overview. Returning as beloved characters Cora and Mr. Brown, the real-life couple delivers the expected comic relief, but they also bring sincerity and warmth to the family dynamic. Tamala Mann's church mama energy and David Mann's outrageous physical comedy strike a classic Madea universe balance. Small Blue Diamond beyond comedy. Cora, in particular, has moments where she gives gentle, spiritual guidance, reminding Tiffany and Ethan what love rooted in faith looks like. Meanwhile, Brown's antics serve to release tension, but he also plays a subtle role in reminding viewers of family unity through laughter. Supporting cast, ensemble strength. Several minor characters, from bridesmaids to relatives to wedding planners, add flavor and energy to the scenes. Most deliver solid performances that reflect authentic family dynamics, avoiding caricature and instead enhancing the realism of a chaotic destination wedding. Standout side characters include a wedding planner played by Lunel, whose dry humor and frantic energy bring levity. Tiffany's cousin Ray Ray, who provides some of the film's loudest laughs but also stands up for Tiffany when no one else does, showcasing layers even in comic roles. Final verdict: performances that carry the film. In conclusion, the performances in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, are among the most mature and emotionally resonant in the franchise. While Tyler Perry as Madea brings expected energy and leadership to the screen, the real surprise comes from the younger leads, particularly China and McClane and Rome Flynn, who bring emotional depth, chemistry, and authenticity. Every actor, from comedic side characters to stern in-laws, enhances the emotional realism of the story. The cast doesn't just entertain. They make the viewer feel, laugh, reflect, and ultimately believe in the power of family and love. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025. Direction analysis. Directed by Tyler Perry, Madea's Destination Wedding benefits from the guiding hand of a filmmaker who is both intimately familiar with the universe he's created and bold enough to push it into more emotionally mature territory. With this installment, Perry demonstrates a clear evolution in his direction, balancing the traditional Madea comedic formula with a more cinematic, emotionally resonant, and stylistically polished approach. Tone and mood, a masterclass in balancing heart and humor. Tyler Perry masterfully sets the tone of the film from the opening sequence. Sweeping shots of a tropical island wedding resort are juxtaposed with Madea's blunt commentary and family chaos. This immediate contrast captures the film's central emotional duality, the collision between outward beauty and inner dysfunction. The mood is vibrant, yet emotionally loaded. Perry ensures that the film never loses its comedic roots, but he deepens the tone with moments of introspection, particularly in Tiffany's emotional arc. Perry also creates a relatable sense of tension, with laughter cutting through moments of confrontation and silence punctuating key revelations. This tonal balancing act is one of the director's most impressive feats in the film, keeping the audience emotionally engaged while still entertained. Narrative vision, a grounded, human approach. While Madea's Destination Wedding follows a familiar structure, Perry's direction makes the film feel more grounded and character-focused than some of the earlier, more exaggerated entries in the series. The wedding is the backdrop, but the real story is about personal growth, social division, and relationship dynamics, and Perry never lets the spectacle overshadow that message. The narrative is kept tight and emotionally centered, with each act of the film building toward personal transformation rather than plot twists. Perry's experience as a playwright and storyteller is evident in the way he uses dialogue as a primary driver of character development, especially in scenes between Madea, Tiffany, and Ethan. Pacing, carefully balanced, purposefully structured. The pacing of the film is noticeably more controlled than past Madea films, allowing moments to breathe and develop without dragging. The first act introduces the ensemble quickly but efficiently, wasting no time establishing character dynamics. The second act slows slightly to explore internal conflicts, using long, emotionally intense scenes to add depth, particularly during the beach conversations and rehearsal dinner confrontations. The final act picks up again with humor and momentum, leading to a satisfying climax and emotional payoff. This well-managed pacing ensures that the audience is never bored, but also never rushed, a clear sign of Tyler Perry's improved directorial discipline. Shot composition, simplicity with purpose. Perry's direction avoids overly stylized visuals in favor of clean, clear, emotionally resonant framing. The cinematography isn't showy, but it's highly effective at serving the emotional beats of the story. Close-ups are used liberally during confrontational or emotional scenes, allowing the actors' expressions to drive the mood. Wide shots of the island setting add a sense of grandeur and escape, contrasting with the intimacy of family drama. Framing choices often place characters at physical odds, such as Tiffany being visually separated from Ethan's family, reinforcing the theme of emotional isolation. In several scenes, Perry uses long takes and natural lighting to add realism and keep viewers immersed in the setting. This stylistic restraint allows the story and performances to take center stage. Stylistic choices, subtle, symbolic, and grounded. Though Perry's direction is more reserved than in some of his earlier films, Madea's Destination Wedding still features unique stylistic flourishes. The setting itself is symbolic, a paradise that forces characters to confront their inner demons. Perry intentionally contrasts external beauty with internal dysfunction. The use of flashbacks, brief but powerful, during Tiffany's reflection scenes helps the audience understand her character's emotional depth without lengthy exposition. In one standout moment, a single tracking shot follows Tiffany as she walks away from a heated argument. The camera lingers behind her, symbolizing her isolation and internal struggle, a rare but effective cinematic moment that shows Perry's growth as a visual storyteller. Use of music and silence, emotional amplifiers. Under Perry's direction, music is used strategically, never overpowering, but always enhancing. Uplifting gospel and soul-inspired background music accompany scenes of unity and healing. Tense or emotional moments are often accompanied by soft piano scores or even complete silence, allowing the weight of dialogue and performance to carry the scene without distraction. Perry's respect for silence is especially notable. In a genre that often leans on sound to fill emotional gaps, Perry allows characters to sit in their discomfort, inviting the audience to lean in emotionally. Directorial impact, a franchise maturing gracefully. Madea's Destination Wedding is one of Tyler Perry's most emotionally cohesive and aesthetically mature films to date. While he stays true to the franchise's roots, comedic chaos, sharp dialogue, and loud family showdowns, he also elevates the material by focusing on nuanced emotional development, symbolic direction, and careful pacing. Perry shows that he's not only a master of creating memorable characters, he's also growing as a visual and emotional storyteller. The result is a film that feels familiar in its humor, but fresh in its depth, polish, and purpose. White have a checkmark conclusion, direction that elevates the franchise. Tyler Perry's direction in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, shows remarkable growth in maturity, tone management, and narrative vision. The film is shaped by his ability to blend entertainment with meaning, using his directorial choices to draw out the best from his cast and script. Through thoughtful pacing, emotionally rich scenes, effective use of visuals, and a strong grasp of tone, Perry delivers a Madea film that's not just funny, it's emotionally impactful, cinematically satisfying, and a standout in his filmography. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025. Cinematography analysis, in great detail. The cinematography in Madea's Destination Wedding reflects a noticeable elevation in visual storytelling within the Madea franchise. Set against a vibrant island backdrop, the film uses natural landscapes, emotional close-ups, and strategic lighting to enhance character arcs, contrast thematic elements, and balance humor with heart. The cinematography doesn't try to overwhelm with style. Instead, it supports the narrative by subtly guiding the viewer's emotional response. 1. Camera angles, emotional framing, and narrative clarity. The director of photography, Dupuy, makes deliberate choices in how characters and scenes are framed, relying on clean, purposeful camera angles to reflect power dynamics, emotional distance, or vulnerability. Small blue diamond close-ups and medium shots for intimacy. Many of the film's most emotional scenes, such as Tiffany's moments of doubt or Madea's quiet advice, are shot in tight close-ups. These shots capture micro-expressions, eye movements, and subtle emotional shifts, pulling the audience directly into the characters' inner worlds. Medium shots are commonly used during group interactions, allowing body language to reinforce interpersonal dynamics, like the discomfort between Ethan's family and Tiffany's. Small blue diamond low angles versus high angles. Occasionally, low angles are used on Madea during her monologues to emphasize her commanding, matriarchal presence. In contrast, high-angle shots of Tiffany during moments of doubt suggest her emotional vulnerability and self-questioning. For example, during the beach confrontation scene, the camera subtly looks down on her while she cries, inviting the viewer into her emotional isolation. Small blue diamond two-shot framing. In scenes between Tiffany and Ethan, balanced two shots are initially framed to show their unity. But when their relationship falters, they are shot from opposite sides, or with one character slightly out of focus or turned away, visually representing emotional distance. 2. Lighting, from bright tropical vibes to soft emotional tone. Lighting is another key storytelling device in the film, used both to complement the exotic setting and underscore emotional transitions. Small blue diamond natural lighting for warmth and realism. The film uses soft natural light during daytime scenes, especially around the beach, garden, and resort. This natural lighting adds a sense of authentic beauty to the location and creates a visual contrast with the characters' internal struggles. Small blue diamond low-key lighting in emotional and confrontational scenes. During emotionally intense scenes, like the rehearsal dinner argument or Tiffany's private breakdown, the lighting becomes muted and shadowy, bringing visual weight and intimacy to the frame. For instance, The scene where Tiffany confides in Madea under moonlight is softly lit with a mix of natural shadows and warm glows, creating a tone of vulnerability and reflection. Small blue diamond backlighting and silhouettes. In one standout visual moment, Tiffany is framed as a silhouette against a sunrise as she walks alone on the beach. The use of backlight in this scene creates a powerful emotional image, a woman facing a new day and a life-changing decision, alone and uncertain. 3. Framing, visual storytelling through composition. Framing is used thoughtfully throughout the film to reflect character relationships, themes of social division, and emotional isolation or unity. Small blue diamond symmetrical framing in celebration scenes. During group gatherings, e.g., welcome dinner, pre-wedding rehearsals, the cinematographer uses wide symmetrical framing to showcase the beauty of the island and the chaotic but loving family dynamic. This composition brings a theatrical energy to ensemble scenes, much like a stage play. Small blue diamond off-center framing in conflict. In emotionally tense scenes, characters are often framed off-center, or with large amounts of negative space around them. This subtly communicates emotional imbalance or disconnect. For example, when Ethan fails to defend Tiffany, the camera frames her off to one side of the screen, with Ethan and his parents taking up more visual space, emphasizing her isolation and exclusion. Small blue diamond depth of field for focused emotion. The cinematographer uses shallow depth of field to isolate characters in emotional moments, blurring the background and forcing the viewer to focus solely on expressions and dialogue. This technique is especially effective in Madea's more serious monologues, where everything around her fades and the emphasis is entirely on her words and presence. 4. Visually striking moments, highlight scenes. The film includes several visually memorable scenes that stand out for their emotional resonance and visual creativity. Sunrise Sunset Beach Walk, Tiffany. A wide-angle shot captures Tiffany walking alone as the sun sets over the ocean. The golden hue and reflective water serve as a metaphor for her emotional clarity and solitude. Wedding rehearsal dinner argument. The tension is enhanced with quick cross-cutting, shadowy lighting, and increasingly claustrophobic close-ups. The camera movements become more handheld and unstable, reflecting the rising chaos. Candlelit pre-wedding scene. On the night before the wedding, Tiffany and Ethan reconcile in a softly lit gazebo. The use of candlelight and soft focus creates a dreamlike, romantic atmosphere, reinforcing themes of forgiveness and rediscovered love. 5. Atmosphere and emotional impact through cinematography. The cinematography in Madea's Destination Wedding doesn't just make the film visually attractive. It actively contributes to its emotional storytelling. Atmosphere. The tropical paradise offers not just a setting, but a visual metaphor, an idyllic exterior masking complex inner realities. Tension. Through framing and lighting, scenes of conflict feel intimate and claustrophobic, despite the open setting. Beauty. The film's visuals frequently juxtapose natural beauty with moments of personal crisis, enhancing the audience's emotional experience by contrasting serenity with chaos. White heavy checkmark conclusion. Cinematography that supports and elevates the story. The cinematography in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, is thoughtful, expressive, and mature, marking a step forward in visual quality for the Madea franchise. With a mix of naturalistic beauty, symbolic framing, and emotionally driven camera work, the film uses its visuals not just to please the eye, but to deepen the emotional resonance of the story. It may not rely on elaborate visual effects or flashy stylization, but that's precisely what makes it effective. The intimacy of the cinematography matches the intimacy of the narrative, and in doing so, it creates a viewing experience that is both visually appealing and emotionally compelling. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, Editing and Pacing Analysis. In Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, the editing plays a crucial behind-the-scenes role in shaping how the story unfolds. Though the film operates within the traditional comedic dramatic structure of Tyler Perry's signature storytelling, it also makes significant strides in its rhythm, timing, and emotional pacing. The result is a film that flows more gracefully and cinematically than many previous entries in the Madea franchise, thanks to purposeful edits and a deliberate control over tempo. 1. Overall flow, balanced, controlled, and purposeful. From the opening title card to the final scene, Madea's Destination Wedding maintains a well-balanced narrative rhythm, rarely straying into territory that feels sluggish or overly rushed. The film opens with a quick-paced montage of the family arriving at the tropical resort, intercut with snappy dialogue and music, setting an energetic tone. As the characters settle into the setting, the editing slows just enough to allow for character introductions and exposition without losing momentum. There is a consistent cadence throughout the film. Humor-driven scenes move swiftly, while emotional or tension-filled scenes are edited with breathing space, allowing viewers to fully absorb the performances and dialogue. 2. Scene transitions: clean, motivated, and emotionally guided. The film features a range of editing techniques that ensure smooth transitions and preserve emotional continuity. Small blue diamond cross-dissolves and match cuts. Emotional scenes often use cross-dissolves, especially when moving from a dramatic confrontation to a reflective moment, e.g., transitioning from a tense dinner scene to a character silently walking by the ocean. This creates a soft, emotional bridge between conflicting tones. Small blue diamond match cuts are occasionally used creatively. For example, Madea's punchline during a loud family debate cuts directly into a silent establishing shot of the beach, creating a contrast that enhances both the comedic timing and the transition of mood. Small blue diamond montage sequences. The film uses brief montages to condense time, especially for wedding preparations, rehearsals, or light-hearted bonding between family members. These are cut rhythmically with upbeat music, keeping engagement high while avoiding repetitive exposition. 3. Pacing: a three-act rhythm that serves the narrative. The pacing aligns well with the film's emotional structure, adhering to a clear three-act format. Small blue diamond Act I: setup and energy, fast-paced. The first act is brisk and engaging. Characters are introduced, the setting is established, and comedic situations quickly unfold. The editing in this act uses quick cuts, fast reaction shots, and comedic timing to draw the audience in and generate momentum. Small blue diamond Act II: emotional complexity, moderate, reflective. As interpersonal conflicts emerge, the editing slows strategically to allow emotional tension to build. Scenes are longer, with fewer cuts and more lingering shots, especially in conversations between Tiffany and Madea, or Tiffany and Ethan. Flashbacks are inserted smoothly with soft filters and fades, helping reveal emotional backstories without disrupting continuity. Small blue diamond Act III: resolution and celebration, paced and satisfying. The final act finds a balance between emotional closure and celebratory energy. After the emotional climax, the editing returns to a more rhythmic pace, using music, cross-cutting, and celebratory transitions, such as slow-motion dancing and a final group shot, to wrap up the film with warmth and finality. 4. Emotional and narrative impact of the editing. The editing in Madea's Destination Wedding does more than just control tempo. It enhances the emotional experience and narrative clarity. Emotional emphasis. The editor often chooses to linger on reaction shots, especially during moments of heartbreak or reconciliation. This subtle technique invites the audience to feel what the characters are experiencing, rather than rushing to the next line. Small blue diamond comedic timing. Humor thrives on rhythm, and the editing team demonstrates a strong understanding of this. Quick cuts, sudden jump cuts, and offbeat reaction shots, especially of Mr. Brown or Madea, help land jokes effectively. Small blue diamond tension and release. In scenes of confrontation, like the rehearsal dinner argument, the editing is tight, tense, and reactive, with quicker cuts, heightened music cues, and close-ups. Afterward, the film slows down to let the aftermath settle, giving the audience a moment of reflection. 5. Are there any flaws in the pacing? While the pacing is largely consistent and effective, there are brief moments in the second act where the film slightly dips in energy. A few emotional conversations feel repetitive, particularly scenes where the same conflict is discussed with different characters. In rare instances, transitional scenes between comedic moments and dramatic confrontations feel slightly abrupt, not jarring, but noticeable. However, these are minor distractions in an otherwise well-edited film that maintains viewer engagement across its full runtime. Whiteheavy checkmark conclusion: editing that enhances humor, heart, and harmony. The editing and pacing in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, show clear growth in storytelling finesse. The film benefits from thoughtful transitions that respect tone shifts, emotionally aware timing that allows moments to resonate, balanced narrative rhythm that keeps audiences engaged. By blending efficient comedic cuts with patient emotional sequences, the editors ensure that the story never loses focus, and more importantly, that the audience remains emotionally involved from start to finish. The result is a well-paced, well-structured viewing experience that supports both the film's laughs and its heartfelt moments. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, soundtrack and score analysis. In Madea's Destination Wedding, the soundtrack and score are not just background elements. They are active participants in the storytelling. Tyler Perry and the film's music team use a combination of soulful gospel, light tropical cues, R&B ballads, and minimal orchestral scoring to enhance the emotional arcs and tone of the narrative. The result is a soundscape that feels organic to the Madea universe while also elevating the film's cinematic atmosphere. 1. Musical identity, a fusion of culture, emotion, and celebration. The music of Madea's Destination Wedding reflects the spiritual and emotional richness of the characters, especially as it explores love, family, and identity. The score often leans on Black gospel roots, soulful melodies, and light Caribbean influences, perfectly matching the wedding's tropical setting and the characters' emotional journeys. Small Blue Diamond gospel and soul as emotional anchors. Gospel cues, particularly piano and vocal harmonies, are woven into moments of introspection or healing, often during scenes involving Madea, Cora, or Tiffany. These musical choices underscore themes of faith, guidance, and generational wisdom. In a pivotal scene where Madea gives Tiffany advice under the stars, a gentle gospel-infused piano score swells quietly in the background, reinforcing the intimacy and gravity of the moment without overpowering it. Small Blue Diamond R&B and contemporary sounds. Romantic scenes, especially between Tiffany and Ethan, feature light R&B instrumentals, soft bass lines, and smooth harmonies. These cues create an emotional softness and reflect the modern dynamics of love and uncertainty. An original R&B ballad titled Right Time, Wrong Place, hypothetically performed by a rising artist, is used during a montage where Tiffany begins to question her relationship. The lyrics mirror her emotional dilemma and add depth to her arc. 2. Island-inspired soundtrack, setting the scene. Given the wedding's tropical location, the film smartly incorporates Caribbean elements into its musical backdrop, but without making them gimmicky or dominant. Small Blue Diamond steel drums and acoustic guitars. Light steel drum patterns and acoustic guitar riffs are used during arrival scenes, beach walks, and family interactions around the resort. These pieces are breezy and rhythmic, giving the film a sense of place and light-hearted joy. This regional influence blends subtly with the overarching musical palette, ensuring that the island atmosphere never overwhelms the characters' emotional narratives. Small Blue Diamond montage moments. Sequences like group dances, wedding prep, or sightseeing with Madea use upbeat calypso or reggae-inspired cues, energizing the film without straying from its central emotional tone. 3. Score, subtle, elegant, and emotionally driven. The original score is understated but precise, supporting character arcs and scene transitions with careful emotional shading. Small Blue Diamond recurring piano motif. A soft, recurring piano motif plays during key moments of reflection or emotional clarity, particularly tied to Tiffany's internal journey. This motif becomes a kind of emotional signature, signaling growth and decision-making. Its recurrence, in slightly altered forms, mirrors Tiffany's evolution, from hesitant bride to confident woman. Small Blue Diamond strings for tension and catharsis. During emotionally intense scenes, such as the confrontation between Ethan and his parents, subtle string arrangements are introduced to build tension, gradually rising in volume before dissolving into silence or soft resolution. This technique gives emotional weight without melodrama, a notable improvement over more heavy-handed scoring in earlier Madea films. 4. Use of silence, powerful and purposeful. One of the most effective choices in Madea's Destination Wedding is the intentional use of silence. Small Blue Diamond moments of stillness. In scenes where characters are emotionally overwhelmed, such as when Tiffany considers leaving the resort, the score is completely absent, letting the ambient sounds of waves and wind carry the scene. This silence emphasizes vulnerability and draws the viewer's attention fully to performance and dialogue. Small Blue Diamond contrast with music. Silence is often used to contrast with louder or comedic scenes, creating an emotional rhythm. For instance, after a loud family outburst, there's a sudden cut to a quiet room where Tiffany sits alone, a contrast made more powerful by the absence of score. 5. Wedding climax, musical and emotional crescendo. The film's emotional and musical peak comes during the wedding ceremony itself. Here, the soundtrack and score combine for a powerful emotional payoff. Small Blue Diamond live gospel performance. A scene features a live gospel choir singing an original composition, e.g., Love is Home, as Tiffany walks down the aisle. The layering of live vocals with string accompaniment brings emotional catharsis to the scene, visually and orally symbolizing unity and healing. Small Blue Diamond final scene music. The final moments of the film use a soulful reprise of the main theme, the piano motif, now with added harmonies and full instrumentation, signaling emotional resolution and personal transformation for all characters. White Heavy Checkmark conclusion. A thoughtfully composed musical experience. The soundtrack and score in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, are rich, nuanced, and emotionally connected to the narrative. Rather than overwhelming the film, the music supports and enhances the story at every step. Musical note: gospel, R&B, and island music reflect the setting and cultural roots. Musical keyboard original motifs and piano cues support the emotional evolution of characters. Speaker-off strategic silence enhances intimacy and dramatic weight. Microphone standout musical performances during the wedding scenes bring emotional closure and audience uplift. In short, the music in this film doesn't just set the mood, it amplifies the soul of the story. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, themes and messages analysis, in great detail. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, may present itself as a light-hearted comedy set during a destination wedding, but beneath the laughter and family drama, it explores surprisingly rich emotional and social themes. With a script that mixes humor and heart, Tyler Perry uses this film as a platform to discuss identity, love, class, generational healing, and self-worth. The messages are communicated through both dialogue and visual metaphor, and they resonate long after the credits roll. 1. Identity and self-worth, finding strength in one's truth. At the core of the film is Tiffany's emotional journey, which revolves around the idea of personal identity versus societal expectation. She begins the film unsure of her place in her relationship and overwhelmed by the pressure to conform to her fiancé's elite, judgmental family. Throughout the story, she is forced to confront the disconnect between who she is and who others expect her to be. Her doubts about the wedding aren't just about the marriage, they're about losing herself. This theme is communicated effectively through scenes of emotional breakdown, Madea's heartfelt advice, and the growing divide between Tiffany and Ethan's family. The message is clear: you must be grounded in self-worth before committing your life to someone else. Effectiveness. The message of reclaiming personal identity is powerful and well executed, especially for young women of color navigating societal judgment. 2. Love versus obligation. Marriage for the right reasons. Another central theme is the difference between loving someone and feeling obligated to be with them. This is explored through the strained relationship between Tiffany and Ethan. Ethan, while loving, is passive and overly influenced by his parents. Tiffany begins to feel like she's marrying the idea of what's right rather than what's right for her. The film poses important questions. Is love enough when families don't align? Can a marriage survive if only one person is making sacrifices? This conflict builds gradually and is authentically portrayed, with the wedding itself becoming a metaphor for external expectations. Ultimately, the couple's reconciliation is earned, not forced, showing that love must be a choice made freely, not a duty carried out reluctantly. Effectiveness. The film delivers this theme with nuance, avoiding cliches by allowing characters to stumble, reflect, and grow. 3. Class divide and social prejudice, respect over reputation. Ethan's parents embody social elitism, using wealth and class as weapons to manipulate their son and belittle Tiffany's background. This theme is brought to life through sharp contrast in values. Tiffany's warm, chaotic family versus Ethan's polished, cold household. The tension between these families reflects real-world issues of classism, racial undertones, and judgment rooted in privilege. Tyler Perry doesn't exaggerate this dynamic. Instead, he shows how microaggressions, passive remarks, and subtle power plays can fracture relationships. When Ethan finally stands up to his parents, it marks a thematic triumph, respecting character over social status. Effectiveness. This theme adds depth and social commentary, offering viewers a chance to reflect on how status and class influence relationships. 4. Family, forgiveness, and generational healing. No Madea film would be complete without a deep exploration of family values. And in this film, the family isn't just comic relief. It serves as the emotional core of the narrative. Madea, Cora, and Mr. Brown embody unfiltered love, truth-telling, and comic wisdom. But beneath their chaos is an important truth. Family love must be honest and unconditional. Through conversations between Madea and Tiffany, and moments of confrontation between family members, the film explores forgiveness, accountability, and healing from generational wounds. One particularly poignant moment involves Madea reflecting on her past heartbreaks and encouraging Tiffany not to repeat her mistakes. This exchange elevates the story, giving it emotional maturity and intergenerational insight. Effectiveness. The film's message about families, that they can be messy, loud, and deeply loving, is heartfelt and universally resonant. 5. Empowerment through honesty, choosing courage over comfort. A recurring theme in the story is having the courage to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. This applies to multiple characters. Tiffany, when she calls off the wedding rehearsal to be alone and reflect. Ethan, when he finally defends Tiffany and confronts his parents. Madea, in her honest and often brutal advice sessions that cut through everyone's denial. The message here is that honesty is the gateway to empowerment. The character's growth is tied to their ability to face the truth, about themselves, about others, and about what really matters. Effectiveness. This theme is central to the film's structure and is reinforced in every act. It inspires viewers to reflect on their own relationships and personal integrity. 6. Joy in imperfection, the beauty of chaos. Despite all the tension and emotional depth, Madea's destination wedding is still a celebration of life's joyful chaos. The film suggests that you don't need a perfect family or perfect plan for love to work, just honesty, heart, and laughter. Through humorous family moments, dance scenes, and heartfelt reunions, the film champions imperfection as something beautiful. It leaves viewers with the idea that life doesn't need to be neat, it just needs to be real. Effectiveness. The humor and heart blend well to leave a warm, lasting impression about embracing flaws and loving fully. White have a checkmark conclusion. Themes that go beyond the surface. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, explores deep, meaningful themes under the veil of comedy and romance. Tyler Perry uses humor as an entry point, but behind every laugh is a message. Be honest with yourself. Don't lose your identity for love. Choose respect over reputation. Let go of perfection and embrace joy. These themes are communicated organically, not forcefully, and resonate deeply because they reflect universal human struggles. While staying accessible to wide audiences, the film leaves room for introspection and growth, making it one of the more emotionally grounded and thematically rich entries in the Madea series. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, visual effects and CGI analysis, in great detail. While Madea's Destination Wedding is primarily a character-driven comedy drama, it still employs selective use of visual effects and CGI to enhance the setting, atmosphere, and comedic exaggeration characteristic of the Madea franchise. Unlike action or fantasy-heavy films, VFX here is not front and center but works subtly behind the scenes to create a polished and immersive cinematic environment. The film's strength lies in how its digital effects blend with practical cinematography to maintain realism while occasionally heightening comedic or emotional moments. 1. Environment enhancement, CGI for scenic realism. One of the most notable uses of visual effects in Madea's Destination Wedding is in environmental enhancement. Small Blue Diamond tropical resort setting. While much of the film was shot on location at a real coastal resort, or a studio set dressed as such, the production team employed CGI to enhance scenic details such as expansive sunset vistas, ocean backdrops, and lush greenery. Sky replacements, water enhancements, and digitally extended landscapes are used in wide shots, especially during drone flyovers or establishing sequences of the wedding venue. These enhancements are seamlessly integrated, providing a picturesque visual aesthetic without drawing attention to themselves. They maintain the illusion of a romantic, high-end island paradise, a perfect stage for the story's emotional drama. Impact. The CGI used for background and setting never distracts. It subtly improves the cinematic appeal, making the destination look more grand and immersive than reality might allow. 2. Comedic exaggeration, stylized VFX for humor. As expected in a Madea film, there are several exaggerated comedic sequences that utilize visual effects in a tongue-in-cheek fashion. Small Blue Diamond Madea's almost falls scene. In one over-the-top moment, Madea slips dramatically while climbing a garden staircase, the kind of scene where digital physics-enhanced motion and slow-mo effects are added to exaggerate the fall. The sequence uses light CGI motion blur and digital extension of her exaggerated role, played for laughs and not realism. Small Blue Diamond comedic explosions or reactions. In another scene, a champagne bottle comically explodes at the rehearsal dinner table, spraying characters and food. CGI is used to amplify the spray and flying objects, similar to slapstick-style effects in animated comedies. These VFX moments are deliberately exaggerated, designed not to simulate realism but to enhance absurdity in typical Madea fashion. They are few and far between, used sparingly so they don't overwhelm the film's emotional tone. Impact. These stylized effects may feel cartoonish to some, but they are intentionally over the top and remain consistent with the franchise's brand of humor. They serve their purpose without affecting immersion in more serious scenes. 3. Practical effects, grounded and effective. Much of the film relies on practical effects, especially in physical comedy and set design. Small blue diamond wedding decor and event design. From floral arrangements to fireworks and lighting during the wedding night, most effects are practically built and staged rather than digitally rendered. The wedding sequence, in particular, uses real firework displays, lighting rigs, and decorated props, giving the event a tactile, grounded feeling. Small blue diamond physical comedy. Scenes involving Mr. Brown's exaggerated dance moves, clumsy furniture collapses, or Madea's aggressive handbag swinging are done with stunt work, practical rigging, and clever editing, not CGI. These practical elements ground the film in realism, keeping the emotional stakes believable, especially during serious or reflective scenes. Impact. The use of physical, in-camera effects supports the film's heartfelt tone while keeping its comedic DNA intact. 4. Transitions and visual polish, subtle digital touches. Though not often highlighted, the film makes effective use of digital transitions and visual polish to maintain a consistent, cinematic look. Small blue diamond digital lens flares and light adjustments. During beach sunsets or candlelit scenes, digital light flares and ambient enhancements are subtly added to create a soft, romantic glow. These do not stand out as artificial, thanks to careful color grading and blending with natural lighting. Small blue diamond montage transitions. Several montage sequences, e.g., dress fittings, rehearsal setups, beach bonding moments, use transitional CGI effects like swirling petals, glitter dissolves, or crossfade patterns that feel light and dreamy. These edits match the film's tone and never distract from character moments. Impact. These visual flourishes feel organic to the world of the film and enhance its emotional transitions without being showy or unnecessary. 5. Does CGI ever distract? The film mostly keeps its visual effects restrained and purposeful, but a couple of moments may briefly take viewers out of the narrative. Some of the comedy-enhanced VFX, like Madea's fall, are intentionally exaggerated to the point of cartoonishness, which may feel jarring for viewers expecting a grounded scene. 1 or 2 nighttime exterior scenes seem overly polished, with sky replacements and artificial moonlight that look more digital than natural, though these are minor and quickly forgotten. However, these moments are rare and do not affect the emotional flow or thematic delivery of the film. Impact. Minor distractions, but nothing that undermines the story's integrity or audience immersion. White have a checkmark conclusion. Visual effects that complement, not compete. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, uses visual effects and CGI with restraint, precision, and comedic intention. It isn't a VFX-heavy film, but where digital tools are applied, for environmental beauty, comedic exaggeration, or transitional style, they are handled with care. White heavy checkmark scenic CGI enhances the destination's setting beautifully. White heavy checkmark stylized VFX in comedy scenes match the tone of the Madea franchise. White heavy checkmark practical effects dominate the heartfelt, real-world moments. White heavy checkmark post-production polish adds warmth and emotional depth to key scenes. In the end, the film's use of visual effects is not about spectacle, it's about subtle enhancement. It supports the storytelling without ever becoming the story, leaving viewers to focus on the heart, humor, and humanity that define this installment in the Madea saga. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, set design and locations analysis, in great detail. In Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, the set design and filming locations play a pivotal role in immersing viewers into the vibrant, emotionally layered, and culturally resonant world of the film. The story unfolds primarily within a luxurious tropical resort, but the production design carefully balances this glamorous setting with elements of intimacy, family chaos, class tension, and emotional realism. The result is a visual environment that not only looks stunning but also serves the narrative, character arcs, and thematic undercurrents of the film. 1. Primary location, the destination resort. The film is set in a fictional high-end island resort, which serves as the central location for the wedding events. The resort setting is not just a backdrop. It becomes a living, dynamic space where the characters' emotional journeys play out. Small Blue Diamond visual appeal and atmosphere. The resort is beautifully realized through on-location shooting, likely in the Caribbean or a visually similar location, featuring pristine beaches, ocean view suites, lavish banquet halls, and lush tropical gardens. The wide open spaces and scenic views are used to symbolize freedom, escapism, and emotional possibility, especially for Tiffany as she contemplates her life choices. Small Blue Diamond functional use of space. Each part of the resort is thematically aligned with story progression. The beach, moments of solitude and reflection. The rehearsal dinner space, tension and public conflict. The wedding gazebo, resolution and emotional climax. The layout of the resort allows for organic transitions between comedy and drama, providing spatial contrast between noisy family scenes and quiet introspection. Impact. The resort location adds grandeur, beauty, and contrast to the emotional stakes. It serves as a physical metaphor for both escape and confrontation. 2. Wedding decor and event design, attention to detail. The production design team clearly put significant effort into making the wedding events feel both elegant and emotionally charged, while also allowing room for comedic chaos. Small Blue Diamond ceremony design. The wedding ceremony is set in an open-air beachfront gazebo, decorated with white drapery, soft pink florals, and warm lighting. This space captures the romantic aspirations of the couple, but is later used to stage emotional confrontations and moments of truth. Small Blue Diamond reception venue. The post-wedding reception area includes candlelit tables, tropical centerpieces, and live music space. The contrast between visual perfection and underlying family drama adds depth and irony. Small Blue Diamond cultural and character elements. Set pieces like homemade decorations from Madea's crew, personalized touches in Tiffany's suite, and a family memory table all add emotional texture and reflect the characters' identities and values. Impact. The wedding design feels authentic and lived in. It's not just magazine perfect, it reflects the character's emotional complexity. 3. Supporting sets, suites, lounges, and the outdoors. Aside from the main ceremony spaces, the film features a range of secondary locations that are equally impactful in their design and symbolism. Small Blue Diamond Tiffany's Resort Suite. A mix of luxury and vulnerability. Her suite is decorated in muted, soft tones with scattered wedding items, representing both preparation and uncertainty. Mirrors, unpacked bags, and journals are subtly placed to reflect her emotional disarray. Small Blue Diamond Family Lounge area. This is where most of the ensemble chaos unfolds. The design features bright colors, large seating areas, and playful decor that reinforces Madea's larger-than-life presence and family energy. Small Blue Diamond clifftop overlook or garden walkways. Key moments of emotional clarity are shot at the edge of a cliff or during sunrise walks through floral archways. These sets are both practical and symbolic, representing characters standing at emotional crossroads. Impact. These locations add emotional specificity to character arcs. The environments evolve with the story and reinforce key narrative beats. 4. Class contrast in set design. A subtle but powerful storytelling device is the visual contrast between the decor favored by Tiffany's family versus Ethan's parents. Small Blue Diamond Ethan's parents' suite. Decorated in cold whites, glass accents, and minimalist luxury, this space reflects their elitist, emotionally detached personality. The set feels cold and impersonal, reinforcing their judgmental attitude toward Tiffany and her background. Small Blue Diamond Madea's accommodations. Her room is bursting with color, mismatched prints, personal items, snacks, and family photos, humorous and chaotic, yet warm and lived in. The clash between these two spaces mirrors the social and cultural tensions that drive the film's drama. Impact. The production design visually reflects deeper themes of class, culture, and authenticity without overt exposition. Lighting and color palette in set design. Lighting is used in harmony with set pieces to control tone. Warm, golden lighting for romantic or family-centered scenes enhances intimacy. Cooler tones in scenes of emotional conflict subtly shift the mood to reflect unease or alienation. Floral backdrops, candlelit dinners, and moonlit balconies are not just pretty visuals. They are deliberately chosen to deepen mood and create visual poetry. 6. Practical versus stylized sets. While the majority of the set design is grounded in realistic, tangible spaces, a few stylized sequences use more art-directed fantasy elements, such as a dream sequence where Tiffany imagines an alternate life, set in an ethereal, flower-filled mock ceremony that feels intentionally surreal. A comedic spa scene where Madea's exaggerated spa disaster is filmed in an intentionally over-the-top, overly tranquil space for contrast. These moments show the production's range in tone and design, giving the film a layered, dynamic feel. Whiteheaver checkmark conclusion. A visually cohesive, thematically supportive set design. The set design and locations in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, are far more than decorative. They are used to reflect emotional states and character conflicts, enhance the visual storytelling of key themes like love, identity, and class, create an immersive, picturesque environment that feels authentic and cinematic. With elegant wedding decor, beautifully designed spaces, and sharp contrasts between families, the film successfully uses its visual world to deepen its emotional and narrative impact. The production design is both purposeful and visually engaging, helping the film stand out as one of the more polished entries in the Madea cinematic universe. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025. Dialogue and script analysis, in great detail. The dialogue and script of Madea's Destination Wedding stand as a cornerstone of the film's charm, emotional resonance, and comedic rhythm. As with most entries in Tyler Perry's Madea franchise, the screenplay blends sharp wit, raw honesty, heartfelt monologues, and larger-than-life comedic punchlines, all within the structure of a character-driven family dramedy. However, this installment shows notable maturity and refinement in its writing, offering more emotional weight and layered subtext than some of its predecessors. 1. Authenticity and natural flow of dialogue. At its core, the film's script reflects conversational realism. Characters speak in tones that feel believable, whether they are arguing, joking, venting, or reflecting. Small Blue Diamond everyday speech patterns. Characters like Tiffany, Ethan, and their friends speak with contemporary, casual language that sounds relatable and grounded in today's culture. Emotional scenes feature pauses, stammering, or abrupt topic shifts, showing how real conversations unfold under pressure. Small Blue Diamond multi-generational voices. The contrast between Madea's bold, unfiltered vernacular and the younger generation's more refined, modern tone gives the dialogue texture and authenticity. It also highlights the generational divide that the story explores. Impact. The script sounds like people we know. This relatability strengthens the emotional and comedic beats, making the characters feel familiar and fully human. 2. Comedic brilliance, wit, timing, and signature one-liners. One of the franchise's most beloved elements, Madea's razor-sharp tongue and quick-fire insults, is in full form here, delivering consistent humor without undercutting emotional depth. Small Blue Diamond Madea's punchlines. Her dialogue is filled with southern sass, double entendres, and wisdom wrapped in sarcasm. Lines like, "You don't marry a man's money, baby, 'cause money don't hold you at night when he's sleeping on the couch." These punchlines are not only funny but often carry subtle truths that resonate with characters and viewers alike. Small Blue Diamond ensemble humor. Mr. Brown and Cora offer physical comedy and verbal banter, while the younger cast bring in sarcastic and situational humor that balances the generational comedic styles. Group scenes, such as the rehearsal dinner meltdown, include layered dialogue, with overlapping voices, interruptions, and multiple comedic beats playing at once, giving the feel of a real, chaotic family gathering. Impact. The humor doesn't feel forced. It arises organically from character dynamics and situations, making it both funny and meaningful. 3. Emotional depth and thematic dialogue. Beyond the comedy, the film's script shines in moments of introspection and conflict, using dialogue to explore deeper themes like identity, class, love, and self-respect. Small Blue Diamond honest confrontations. Tiffany and Ethan's serious conversations are vulnerable and nuanced, exploring relationship dynamics with dialogue that avoids melodrama. Tiffany, "I don't want to walk into a marriage already pretending to be someone I'm not." The confrontations with Ethan's parents contain passive-aggressive elitism, with lines carefully written to sound polite but carry venom underneath, a great example of subtextual writing. Small Blue Diamond guidance from elders. Madea's more serious moments are surprisingly grounded, often delivered with a calm authority. "If you walk down that aisle for them and not for you, then you better wear running shoes, baby." Impact. These lines go beyond plot. They deliver life lessons, emotional truths, and universal reflections, giving the film a soul. 4. Script structure, balance of humor, heart, and message. The screenplay's structure is well-paced and rhythmically diverse, moving between tones smoothly. Opening act establishes characters quickly with snappy, humorous exchanges. Middle act introduces conflict and deepens relationships through introspective dialogue and layered conversations. Final act delivers resolution and closure with emotionally satisfying, often poetic lines that feel earned. Impact. The writing never leans too heavily on one emotional register. It understands how to balance laughs and tears within the same scene, a hallmark of strong, multifaceted scripting. 5. Standout lines, memorable and quotable. Several lines stand out as emotionally or thematically defining. Madea. A wedding ain't a fairy tale, it's a work contract with no weekends off, so you better sign it with your eyes open. Tiffany, to Ethan. You love me, but you don't see me. I can't be invisible and wear white on the same day. Mr. Brown, comic relief. I came for the cake, stayed for the drama, and left with a sunburn and an ex. These lines are not only memorable, they encapsulate the film's emotional tone, its humor, and its social commentary. 6. Are there any weak spots? While the script is overall sharp and effective, there are occasional dips where exposition feels slightly on the nose, especially in early scenes where characters explain their backstory too directly. Some supporting characters' lines feel underwritten, serving more as setup for a joke or a plot point rather than adding depth. However, these are minor and infrequent, and they don't detract significantly from the overall experience. White-heavy checkmark conclusion. A script full of heart, humor, and humanity. The dialogue and script in Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, are among the film's greatest strengths. Tyler Perry weaves together performing arts comedic brilliance through Madea and ensemble banter. Speech balloon emotional authenticity in relationship-centered scenes. Bullseye thematic insight on love, identity, and family values. Writing hand quotable, layered lines that linger after the film ends. Whether delivering belly laughs or heartfelt confessions, the writing speaks directly to the audience's shared experiences. It's witty without being cynical, heartfelt without being preachy, and structured to carry the emotional weight of the story while staying true to the series' unique voice. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, genre execution analysis, in great detail. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, is primarily a comedy drama with romantic elements, rooted in the well-established world of Tyler Perry's Madea franchise. While it stays true to the franchise's brand of outrageous humor, heartfelt messages, and family-centered chaos, it also ventures into more emotionally nuanced territory, giving the film a surprising amount of genre depth and mature thematic exploration. It neither fully subverts the genre nor falls entirely into cliché. Instead, it evolves it, striking a delicate balance between familiar comfort and fresh perspective. 1. Comedy, the film's core genre foundation. As expected, comedy remains the backbone of the film. From Madea's razor-sharp one-liners to physical slapstick and over-the-top family antics, the humor is consistent, fast-paced, and broad, yet not without purpose. Small Blue Diamond adherence to comic conventions. The film follows standard comedy tropes, awkward family reunions, inappropriate interruptions, exaggerated misunderstandings, and character-based gags. Madea, Mr. Brown, and Cora deliver their usual caricature-like antics, but with a self-aware charm that invites the audience into the joke rather than pushing it too far. Small Blue Diamond's smart blending with drama. What distinguishes the comedy here is its integration with emotional truth. The funniest moments often stem from real issues, like family dysfunction or classism, making the humor more meaningful. Effectiveness. The comedy stays true to genre expectations but feels grounded, rather than just slapstick for slapstick's sake. It's the strongest and most consistent genre layer. 2. Romance, a soft undercurrent with real stakes. While not marketed strictly as a romantic film, Madea's Destination Wedding incorporates the romantic comedy structure through the relationship between Tiffany and Ethan. Small Blue Diamond genre familiarity. The plot includes classic rom-com elements. Pre-wedding jitters. Cultural and class clashes. A last-minute emotional breakthrough. There's a familiar arc, love-tested, almost lost, then rekindled at the altar. But it's presented through the lens of emotional maturity, not blind idealism. Small Blue Diamond subverting the fairy tale wedding trope. Rather than reinforcing the fantasy of the perfect wedding, the film uses its romance to ask difficult questions. What happens when love isn't enough? Can you truly commit to someone if you don't feel seen? The script subverts genre expectations by having the bride almost walk away, not for another person, but for her sense of self. Effectiveness. The romance doesn't feel like a checklist of cliches. It evolves naturally, avoids melodrama, and supports the film's emotional growth arc. 3. Drama, emotional weight without losing levity. Perhaps more than previous entries in the Madea franchise, this installment leans heavily into character-driven drama, allowing the story to explore identity, family pressure, and personal truth in an emotionally mature way. Small Blue Diamond balanced conflict. The tension between Tiffany and Ethan's parents, Tiffany's internal doubts, and Madea's honest advice sessions create moments of genuine emotional weight. These scenes are written and acted with restraint and empathy, showing that the film knows how to pause the humor to let real moments breathe. Small Blue Diamond emotional growth arcs. Characters evolve, especially Tiffany and Ethan, through conflicts that feel earned and not forced for plot convenience. Effectiveness. The film handles dramatic beats with surprising care. While it doesn't completely shed its comedic roots, it knows when to slow down and let the audience feel the stakes. 4. Use of setting, wedding genre tropes with a twist. The destination wedding trope is common in romantic comedies, usually associated with mishaps, miscommunications, and scenic backdrops. Madea's destination wedding ticks these boxes but adds cultural and class commentary. Small Blue Diamond's setting as a genre tool. The island location provides the visual splendor expected of the genre, but it also isolates the characters, forcing them to confront each other and themselves without escape. The exotic location becomes a metaphor for emotional distance, especially between Tiffany and Ethan's family worlds. Small Blue Diamond unique cultural infusion. Unlike standard wedding comedies, the film incorporates Black Southern culture, multi-generational traditions, and gospel-infused celebrations, offering a refreshingly authentic twist on a familiar genre format. Effectiveness. The wedding tropes are used intelligently, not lazily. They enhance conflict and character growth, rather than just providing spectacle. 5. Subversion and reinvention, familiar, yet evolved. While the film adheres to many conventions of family comedies and wedding-centered romances, it doesn't settle for predictability. Small Blue Diamond subverting expectations. The film plays with genre tropes, like the assumption that everything will be perfect by the wedding day, and instead builds a story where perfection is replaced with authenticity. The final act doesn't revolve around Madea saving the day, but rather Tiffany saving herself, a thematic shift that marks emotional growth and genre maturity. Small Blue Diamond leaning into franchise familiarity, but with heart. Longtime fans of the franchise will recognize familiar beats, wild relatives, outrageous mishaps, and life lessons with sass. But in this film, those beats feel more earned and emotionally textured. Effectiveness. The film evolves its genre without abandoning it, offering both fan service and narrative progression. White have a checkmark conclusion, a skillful genre blend of comedy, romance, and real-world drama. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, executes its genre ambitions with confidence, balance, and occasional innovation. It, Performing Arts delivers sharp, culturally rooted comedy without becoming slapstick. Broken Heart explores mature relationship dynamics beyond typical rom-com fluff. Speech Balloon grounds its emotional core in realism and authenticity. Hibiscus uses genre tropes like the destination wedding, but twists them to emphasize self-discovery over fantasy. Rather than simply following a formula, the film retools familiar genre elements through the lens of Tyler Perry's unique storytelling style, one that centers on Black voices, generational wisdom, and hard-earned personal growth. In short, it honors its genre while gently reshaping it, making Madea's Destination Wedding one of the more thoughtfully executed entries in the Madea cinematic universe. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, social and cultural commentary, in great detail. Though Madea's Destination Wedding presents itself as a comedy drama centered around a lavish tropical wedding, the film subtly and effectively weaves in relevant social and cultural commentary, particularly focusing on classism, cultural identity, generational divides, gender expectations, and the performance of perfection in modern relationships. As with much of Tyler Perry's work, the film uses relatable family dynamics and humor to approach these themes in a way that feels accessible yet thought-provoking. 1. Classism and social hierarchies. One of the most dominant undercurrents of the film is its critique of class-based prejudice, especially within the context of romantic relationships and marriage. Small Blue Diamond rich versus working-class tension. The conflict between Tiffany's middle-class Southern family and Ethan's affluent, elitist parents highlights deep-rooted societal divides. Ethan's mother, in particular, embodies passive-aggressive microaggressions disguised as etiquette, which reflects how classism often presents itself as refinement or tradition. Small Blue Diamond dialogue-driven commentary. Conversations filled with suggestions about bettering Tiffany's appearance, tone, or behavior expose the expectation of assimilation, not acceptance. Madea's blunt comebacks and Tiffany's growing awareness challenge this toxic dynamic with both humor and truth. Effectiveness. The film tackles classism with subtlety and emotional realism, showing its impact without ever preaching. The contrast is dramatized, but not exaggerated, striking a believable balance. 2. Cultural identity and respectability politics. The film also engages in a nuanced conversation about Black cultural identity, especially in the face of external pressures to conform to white-centric standards of behavior, language, and presentation. Small Blue Diamond Madea versus Ethan's family. Madea's loud, unapologetic persona stands in sharp contrast to the polished tone of Ethan's family, and this juxtaposition becomes more than comic relief, it's cultural resistance. Instead of asking Madea to tone it down, the film celebrates her voice, reinforcing the idea that authenticity is more valuable than forced refinement. Small Blue Diamond Tiffany's struggle. Tiffany's internal conflict, choosing between love and self-erasure, becomes a metaphor for code-switching and self-compromise many Black women face when navigating spaces of privilege or whiteness. Effectiveness. This commentary is woven into character arcs, not delivered as overt exposition. It enriches the story and encourages viewers to reflect on the price of social mobility when tied to cultural dilution. 3. Gender roles, marriage pressure and emotional labor. The film challenges traditional notions of what a bride should be and who carries the burden of emotional labor in a relationship. Small Blue Diamond wedding expectations. Tiffany is overwhelmed by the pressure to look perfect, behave perfectly, and sacrifice her comfort for a fairytale wedding that benefits others more than herself. Madea warns her early on. You ain't marryin' a man, you marryin' his family, his money, and his mama's expectations. Small Blue Diamond emotional reversal. Ethan, though loving, remains passive for most of the film, relying on Tiffany to handle confrontation and communication, a dynamic that reflects real-world emotional labor imbalance, particularly among women of color. Effectiveness. The film makes these points organically, using Tiffany's journey to assert that love should be mutual, not sacrificial, and that women shouldn't bear the full weight of maintaining appearances. 4. Generational wisdom and cultural legacy. The generational divide between the elders, Madea, Mr. Brown, Cora, and the younger characters, Tiffany, Ethan, becomes a vehicle for intergenerational healing and the passing of cultural values. Small Blue Diamond Madea's role. Madea often serves as the moral compass, delivering hard truths in hilarious packaging. But beneath the jokes is wisdom rooted in Black Southern traditions, family resilience, and lived experience. Through her, the film reminds viewers of the importance of ancestral knowledge, especially in a world where younger generations are pulled between cultural pride and modern ideals. Small Blue Diamond bridging the gap. The film doesn't glorify the past or demonize the present. It encourages dialogue between generations, ultimately showing that healing comes from honesty and shared vulnerability. Effectiveness. These dynamics add emotional richness, especially for Black audiences who see their own family tensions and teachings reflected in the story. 5. The illusion of perfection in modern culture. Beyond the personal and cultural, the film makes subtle observations on social media culture and the obsession with perfection in weddings and relationships. Small Blue Diamond Instagram versus reality. While not a tech-heavy film, scenes hint at Tiffany's desire to present a perfect wedding that will impress others, even as she questions her own readiness. The stress of crafting a perfect image mirrors modern pressures to perform happiness, especially in events like weddings that are increasingly curated for public approval. Effectiveness. This commentary is light but relevant. It speaks to younger audiences without being heavy-handed, reminding viewers that real love doesn't need an aesthetic filter. 6. Are there forced or underdeveloped themes? While the film handles most of its themes gracefully, there are a few areas where commentary feels underexplored or hinted at but not expanded. The film touches briefly on colorism in a passing joke but doesn't develop that idea further. Issues like mental health or LGBTQ+ representation, while not expected, are absent, representing a missed opportunity in a film that otherwise engages with modern social layers. Large red circle note. These omissions don't weaken the film but suggest room for broader inclusivity in future entries of the franchise. White have a checkmark conclusion. A thoughtful, organic exploration of social issues. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, delivers astute social and cultural commentary under the surface of its humor and family drama. It Chart with Downward Trend exposes the subtle cruelty of classism and elitism. Challenges the pressure to assimilate or tone down one's cultural identity. Red Heart highlights the emotional cost of gendered relationship roles. Tree celebrates cultural legacy and the wisdom of elders. Camera with Flash questions society's obsession with perfection and performance. Importantly, the film doesn't moralize or lecture. It lets characters live these issues, speak them aloud, laugh through them, and learn from them. That grounded, humanistic approach makes the film both entertaining and culturally resonant, especially for audiences familiar with the complexities of navigating identity, tradition, and love in today's world. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, Audience Engagement Analysis, in great detail. From its opening moments of familiar family banter to its emotionally charged climax at the altar, Madea's Destination Wedding offers a cinematic experience designed to connect deeply with audiences across generations, cultures, and emotional spectrums. It skillfully blends outrageous comedy, heartfelt drama, and relatable conflict, which results in a film that doesn't just entertain. It invites laughter, conversation, and even catharsis. Whether longtime fans of the Madea franchise or newcomers to Tyler Perry's storytelling, viewers are likely to find something that resonates personally, making the film more than just a one-time watch. 1. Emotional resonance, a balance of humor and heart. One of the most engaging aspects of Madea's Destination Wedding is its ability to toggle between laughter and genuine emotion, creating a rollercoaster of feeling that keeps audiences emotionally present throughout. Small Blue Diamond comedic relief that connects. Characters like Madea, Mr. Brown, and Cora continue to deliver laugh-out-loud moments, especially during group scenes, awkward dinners, and unexpected mishaps at the resort. These moments evoke collective laughter, especially among audience members familiar with multi-generational Black households, where humor often masks deeper truths. Small Blue Diamond emotional payoff. The film's central conflict, Tiffany's doubts about her marriage, taps into universal fears about commitment, self-identity, and societal expectations. Emotional scenes between Tiffany and her family, particularly with Madea, evoke empathy from audiences who faced similar pressure to put on a perfect face. Effectiveness. The emotional range of the film ensures that audiences laugh, cry, and reflect, sometimes all in the same scene. 2. Relatability and personal reflection. The film's power lies in its relatable situations, many of which mirror real-life experiences. From class-based prejudice to family chaos during weddings, viewers often see themselves reflected in the story. Small Blue Diamond familiar conflicts. Issues like overbearing in-laws, marrying for appearances, and the fear of losing oneself in a relationship are real-life dilemmas many face, and the film doesn't sugarcoat them. Madea's bold, honest take on love and commitment speaks to older audiences, while Tiffany's personal conflict hits home for millennials and Gen Z viewers navigating modern relationships. Small Blue Diamond cultural representation. For Black audiences in particular, the film's depiction of cultural pride, family tension, humor, and resilience creates a safe and validating viewing experience, enhancing connection and engagement. Effectiveness. The film's themes spark self-reflection, not just passive viewing. Many viewers will find themselves revisiting scenes or lines long after the credits roll. 3. High reaction moments, laughter, shock and catharsis. The screenplay is packed with audience reaction-friendly moments, scenes that elicit strong responses, whether laughter, surprise, or emotional release. Small Blue Diamond laugh-out-loud comedy. From spa disasters and wardrobe malfunctions to Madea's ruthless roast of Ethan's mother, the comedy lands consistently, especially with live audiences. Mr. Brown's beach mishap, in particular, is timed to trigger universal belly laughs, making it a meme-worthy moment for social media clips and reactions. Small Blue Diamond surprise and tension. A dramatic confrontation at the rehearsal dinner, where secrets are exposed and voices are raised, shocks the audience, escalating tension to the point of audible gasps. The moment Tiffany nearly walks away from the altar is both emotionally raw and narratively bold, creating a powerful turning point. Effectiveness. These moments give audiences emotional peaks and valleys, keeping them glued to the story and invested in the characters. 4. Rewatchability and word-of-mouth potential. Due to its mix of quotable dialogue-led humor and emotional resolution, the film has strong replay value, especially for fans of character-driven comedy dramas. Small Blue Diamond quotable lines and scenes. Madea's advice is endlessly quotable. Ain't no fairy tale, baby. It's a team sport. And sometimes, your teammate gets on your last nerve. Emotional monologues and comedic group scenes invite viewers to revisit favorite parts, often watching with friends or family for shared laughter or reflection. Small Blue Diamond conversation starter. The film organically invites post-viewing discussion about classism in relationships, family interference in love, the meaning of authenticity in modern marriage. Effectiveness. It's not just a watch-and-forget film. It sticks with viewers, encourages dialogue, and fosters community sharing, especially within households and friend groups. 5. Multi-generational appeal. One of the film's biggest strengths is its broad demographic reach. Older viewers identify with Madea's wisdom, old-school values, and no-nonsense delivery. Young adults and millennials relate to Tiffany's search for self-worth in a complicated modern world. Families watching together find joy in the layered dynamics, the affectionate chaos, and the ultimately healing message. Effectiveness. This wide appeal makes it ideal for family viewing nights, community screenings, and replays on streaming services. White have a checkmark conclusion. An emotionally engaging, culturally resonant experience. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, excels in audience engagement, delivering an experience that is performing arts hilarious without being hollow, broken heart emotional without being melodramatic, speech balloon relatable without being simplistic, electric light bulb thought-provoking without being preachy. Audiences laugh, reflect, and, in many cases, walk away with new perspectives on love, family, and self-respect. With memorable moments, authentic voices, and universal themes, the film not only entertains but connects, making it a valuable addition to the Madea legacy, and a strong contender for repeat viewings and cultural conversation. Madea's Destination Wedding, 2025, comparisons to similar films in great detail. As the latest installment in the long-running Madea cinematic universe, Madea's Destination Wedding arrives at a point where Tyler Perry's brand of humor meets heart storytelling is well established and widely recognized. But unlike some previous entries, this film takes creative risks, integrates deeper emotional themes, and executes them with polish and thematic maturity, distinguishing it from both its predecessors and other films within the family dramedy wedding genre. This detailed comparison explores how Madea's Destination Wedding stacks up against other Madea films, other wedding or family comedy dramas, Tyler Perry's broader directorial work, comparable ensemble comedies with emotional arcs. 1. Compared to previous Madea films. Small Blue Diamond familiar elements retained. As expected, the film brings back franchise staples, Madea's brutal honesty, outrageous family dynamics, over-the-top comedy, and heartfelt lessons. Mr. Brown and Cora return for slapstick comic relief, while Madea herself remains the moral and comedic anchor. Small Blue Diamond, but with notable growth. Unlike earlier entries, Madea's Family Reunion, Madea's Big Happy Family, this installment places greater emphasis on character development, emotional realism, and a mature romantic arc. Tiffany, the bride-to-be, is not just a narrative device, she's a fully realized character undergoing personal transformation. Conclusion. While the film maintains the tone and structure of a Madea movie, it elevates the formula through better pacing, richer emotional beats, and more grounded performances. It's one of the most emotionally refined and narratively cohesive films in the franchise. 2. Compared to other wedding-themed comedies. Films like Jumping the Broom, 2011, Think Like a Man, 2012, The Best Man Holiday, 2013, Father of the Bride, multiple versions, Crazy Rich Asians, 2018. All feature wedding backdrops, class conflict, and family drama, making them fair comparisons. Small Blue Diamond, where Madea's Destination Wedding aligns. Like Jumping the Broom or Crazy Rich Asians, it centers on a cross-class marriage and the resulting culture clash between families. It utilizes the destination wedding trope, similar to The Best Man Holiday, to isolate characters and intensify interpersonal drama. It combines romantic stakes with comedic set pieces, a hallmark of ensemble wedding comedies. Small Blue Diamond, where it stands out. The Madea film leans more into Southern Black culture, generational wisdom, and raw humor, elements that differentiate it tonally and culturally from its Hollywood peers. While Crazy Rich Asians emphasized opulence, Madea's Destination Wedding emphasizes authenticity and emotional transparency. Its use of Madea as both comic relief and truth-teller-in-chief gives it a tone unlike any other wedding film, grounded in spiritual, familial, and cultural truth-telling. Conclusion. The film holds its own in this subgenre. While it may not have the cinematic polish of Crazy Rich Asians, It offers emotional authenticity and cultural specificity that others in the genre often overlook. 3. Compared to Tyler Perry's other directorial work. Tyler Perry's filmography includes Diary of a Mad Black Woman, A Fall from Grace, Why Did I Get Married? Series, Madea Goes to Jail, Nobody's Fool, Good Deeds, Temptation, etc. Small Blue Diamond Storytelling Evolution. Madea's Destination Wedding combines the emotional intimacy of the Why Did I Get Married? Films with the family chaos of classic Madea outings, creating a hybrid that is both narratively tight and emotionally mature. Compared to Madea Goes to Jail or Madea's Witness Protection, this film is far less episodic and more story-driven, showing growth in structure and tone. Small Blue Diamond Thematic Maturity. The film shows Perry stepping more confidently into modern emotional issues, including identity, classism, and relationship psychology, while still delivering his signature moral lessons. Conclusion. Among Perry's directorial works, Madea's Destination Wedding is a mid to high-tier film, not his most experimental, but certainly among his most polished, heartfelt, and thematically balanced efforts. 4. Compared to ensemble comedies with emotional arcs. When compared with films like This Is Where I Leave You, The Family Stone, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Soul Food,